Hello YouTube gardeners. We're having a beautiful day in the garden today. The birds are singing. They sound like they're having a great time. Really enjoying listening to all the birdie songs. And I'm about ready to get these tomato plants in their permanent locations. I'm going to be able to fit about 10 to 11 tomato plants along this fence line. The soil has been prepared over the months, but I'm still going to be adding some organic soil, and it's got some of the Dr. Earth planting mix in there. I'm also going to be adding some biochar and some worm castings, and then really important, I'm going to be adding this Dr. Earth fertilizer that is high in calcium. I want to make sure that these tomato plants start off right with all the nutrition, the nutrients possible from the very beginning so that they can grow into strong, healthy tomato plants. And the calcium, of course, is very important to avoid blossom end rot. So I'm going to make sure that these guys start off right. Last year I did a video that goes into detail about the 5 growing requirements for your tomato plants in order to grow nice big fruits and have success with your tomato plants. I'll just briefly go over them right now, and then I'll attach the video at the end in case you want to watch that. But basically the 5 growing requirements are: 1, very sunny location. In my experience, tomato plants that have been planted in the shade to start off with didn't do as well. The ones that were planted in a very sunny location did great. They thrived. Sun is energy, and you definitely need lots of energy to go into these tomato plants to produce big fruits. I did have a husky tomato plant that started off in a very sunny location, and as the months went on, the fence line started shading it. I still got lots of great fruit off of that husky plant, but if I would have started it off in a shaded area, it wouldn't have done as well. So number 1, sunny location. Number 2, regular watering. I won't let my tomato plants dry out because you experience blossom drop. So it stresses the plant out if they get too dry. They don't mind going to the moist to dry level, but just not completely drying out, avoiding the plant from stressing out. So keep them moist. They don't want to be soggy either. So even watering is perfect for tomato plants. Number 3, feeding. They're heavy feeders, so side dressing with a organic fertilizer rich in calcium. I use Dr. Earth because it's got lots of calcium in there. And also, number 4, soil requirements. And that's just as important as feeding, because if you make sure that there's lots of aged compost in your soil, then the plants are going to feed off of that. This soil here I've prepared over the months. It has lots of aged compost in there. It's got an organic soil, and it's also got the Dr. Earth planting mix. So lots of nutrients available in this soil. And then when I get this other soil added as I'm planting, I'm also going to add some aged compost. And then 5th, trellising. Very helpful to avoid disease on your lower leaves. So I'll also be pinching off some of the bottom leaves and string trellising them. This way it'll keep the plant off the ground where bacteria could be introduced to the tomato plant. Alright, so just to briefly go over the 5 growing requirements, we have 1, a sunny location, 2, even watering, 3, feeding with a high calcium rich organic fertilizer, 4, a nutrient rich soil with aged compost, and then 5, trellising. Hi guys, are you listening to the birdies sing? Wow, they sound so pretty, huh? All right, I'm going to be burying these plants at least about half the plant when I get them in the ground. You can see that these little hairs along the stems of the tomato plant, a lot of those turn into roots. And I'm going to be string trellising these tomato plants up this fence line. So I'm going to be putting in some eye screws and getting the string out, and then I'll go ahead and get started, speed up the video, and then come back and go into detail about how I tie the string and how I wrap it around the tomato plant. All right, gonna get started. All right, got the tomato plants in, got them buried pretty deep. Look how small they are. And pretty soon, in a few months, they're going to take over this whole fence line. All right, I'm ready to get the little eye hooks in the fence. These guys were $2.39 at Ace Hardware for 8 of them. Then I have this string here, trellising string, and I will get that attached to the tomato plants. I'm going to go ahead and just do this one for now because he's big enough. The rest I'm going to wait a few weeks, actually a couple weeks, until they get a little bigger and ready to trellis. But I'll go ahead and do this one to show you how I'm going to be string trellising these tomatoes. And then I have all of this area over here that I need to get planted. Lots of tomato plants going in this area, and then I've got my raised bed that I'll get probably about 20 plants in that, and then I need to string trellis the other group of tomatoes that I have growing on the other side of the garden. Those guys are almost ready to get them trellised. Okay, so you can see here that I got the eye hook in the fence. I tied the trellising string, secured it to the eye hook, tied it off at this point, and then came around the tomato stem and twisted it. You can see that this plant is really too young to start string trellising, but I'm doing this video on trellising my tomato plants this year, so just wrapped them up for demonstration purposes, but not going to really worry about trellising him for probably a couple weeks. And then as he grows, the main stem is going to get wrapped with this trellising string, and it's going to keep him really nice and secure. So as we go up here to the top, and then here's the other eye screw at the top of the fence. Got the trellising string fed through, and then this simple slip knot that you just pull the string, the knot comes out, Then as the plant grows, wrap the trellising string around the main stem a couple more times. Tighten it gently so that the slack is out of the string, and then retie the slip knot. Alright, so this group is all ready to go. I'm going to give them a deep water, and then over the next several weeks, as this guy grows and starts getting some fruit, then I'll come in and side dress with organic fertilizer, rich in calcium, and I will continue to string trellis as it grows, cutting off any bottom leaves so that the bacteria in the soil doesn't bounce up on the leaves and cause disease, and making sure that they have even water. Alright, that's it for now. We've got lots of other tomato plants that we're going to get in. Fun varieties like blueberries and Old German. Really excited to taste those new varieties. Alright, well, I hope you enjoy your weekend and enjoy your garden.